What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another weekly update. So there's lots of exciting news to go over here this week. And the first news story is that Honda has announced this week that the new Civic Type R that's coming this summer actually set the front wheel drive production car lap record at Suzuka Circuit, beating the more hardcore 2021 limited edition version by about a second. So it might not sound huge, but considering that limited edition version right at the end of the last generation, was a little bit stiffer and more track ready. So the fact that the regular new Type R here is going to be even a second faster than that means that it should be a nice evolution of what we got with the previous generation. Unfortunately though, that's all the information we have so far, aside from an announcement saying that it'll be unveiled sometime this summer, but we don't have any other details or exact date to give just yet. But interesting to at least hear that little morsel of information. One vehicle that Honda did fully reveal here this week, at least as far as the outside goes, is the 2023 HR-V. So the vehicle was developed for North America for this version of the HR-V, and it's totally different from the HR-V the rest of the world is getting. And Honda also didn't reveal too many details yet about this one. They didn't even show us the interior, but they did say it's now on the new 11th gen Civic platform, and it has a longer wheelbase and is wider than the old version. They also lengthened the hood, made the glass a little bit larger. All the same kind of improvements they made to the new Civic have also been made to this HR-V here. They also say it's going to be more refined, confident, and fun to drive with substantially improved dynamics and powertrain responsiveness. But there's no info yet on what that powertrain will be. The chances are it's going to be using one of the engines offered in the Civic. Could even just be the regular, 4-cylinder without the turbo that you see in the regular Civics, like 158 horsepower. That would be fine for this segment. They could also offer the turbo engine and top trims if they'd like, and give it a little bit more power than what you get, and that would also make it competitive with stuff like a Kona turbo, things like that. So we'll see what they end up deciding to do there. I'm not sure when we'll get more details. They just say they'll have more details here in the coming months. Regardless, obviously count on it running a CVT most likely in all those versions as well. And but they say that the full reveal with everything else will be happening this summer as well. The last little bit of Honda news this week is that GM and Honda announced an expansion of their partnership with EVs and electric vehicles that they've been working on over the past several years. So previously, Honda had agreed to build two vehicles on GM's Ultium platform. There was the Honda Prologue that's coming in 2024, and then an Acura version most likely in 2025. And so those are still in the plans, but this week's announcement here doesn't say how many new models will be built under this partnership, but all they're saying here is that the goal is partnering up for affordable EVs this time. Under $30,000 is the goal, and they're also their goal is to enable production of millions of EVs, with the first product of this newer partnership coming in 2027 in North America. So still about 5 years off. So nothing happening super soon with that, but still interesting that they're really working hard on developing the affordable stuff. We know GM is also working very hard on that. They have several EVs in the pipeline that are also going to be under $30,000. And so it's great to see companies banding together to try and bring affordability in the EV segment here to the masses. And so GM CEO said, GM and Honda will share our best technology, design, and manufacturing strategies to deliver affordable and desirable EVs on a global scale, and added that by working together, we'll put people all over the world into EVs faster than either company could achieve on its own. And Honda added their little statement here saying that the progress we have made with GM since we announced the EV battery development collaboration in 2018, followed by co-development of electric vehicles, including the Honda Prologue, has demonstrated the win-win relationship that can create new value for our customers. This new series of affordable EVs will build on this relationship by leveraging our strength in the development and production of high-quality compact class vehicles. So just to unpack that a little bit, we've heard several different things. Honda's been doing a bunch of different stuff EV-wise. They're kind of all over the place. So, the GM stuff, we already knew that was happening. Now there's going to be more GM-based EVs. We also do know that Honda has said previously that they're going to have their own unique platform. Now, that could be maybe just for Europe and Japan and stuff, and that maybe for American EVs, it makes more sense to do unique stuff here and just build it on GM's platform. I'm not sure if that's the reasoning behind this change because it still sounds like Honda will be doing their own unique platform. And we also know that Honda just announced a partnership with Sony. So Honda and Sony will be building cars together as well. And I'm not sure what components those will use, what the deal is with all of that. But I mean, so Honda's got lots of different things going on here. But I think, what we can expect in the near term here is that, the Honda Prologue will be the first partnership product here with the GM thing. Will be coming, in about 2 years, maybe even a little bit less. And hopefully we'll have a little bit more of a concrete, roadmap here as far as Honda's plans for the United States and the rest of the world as far as these EVs go. But interesting to hear that they're working on that. Not that they're working on massive vehicles either, but, really affordable stuff here. And so, yeah, very interesting to hear that. Something that isn't affordable here, Mercedes this week has announced and confirmed the new SL will be getting a 43 version, a 4-cylinder version in certain parts of the world, but it hasn't confirmed it for the US yet. But they've told Autoblog that it's under consideration for us, so we'll see. So anyway, but this is pretty big news to have, an SL with only a 4-cylinder. It runs the same engine as the CLA45, but has an electric exhaust gas turbocharger, which they say is actually the first one in a regular production car. And so Mercedes briefly explained here how it works, saying that an electric motor around 4 centimeters thin is integrated directly on the turbocharger shaft between the turbine wheel on the exhaust side and the compressor wheel on the intake side. Electronically controlled, this drives the shaft of the turbocharger directly and thus accelerates the compressor wheel before the exhaust gas stream starts to drive it conventionally. So, it just kind of spins it up ahead of time. We've seen other electric turbochargers that do something similar, but I guess this kind of takes a little bit further. This means there's going to be a lot less lag, more power at lower RPMs, and the setup, they say, is a derivative of the one used in the Mercedes F1 car. So all very cool stuff. But interestingly, this motor does less than it does in a CLA45, even with this improved turbo. It only does 381 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque and runs through the 9-speed multi-clutch transmission. I mean, the CLA45, at least the S version, did 415 horsepower out of that motor using its conventional turbo. I guess, maybe that motor had a much more peaky power band. I've never driven that new motor, so I can't say myself, but I don't know if that's the reason why, for an electric vehicle like this, they wanted to, have the power dialed back, but have, that advancement there with the more low-end punch. Anyway, that's going to be doing a 4.9 seconds 0 to 60. And visually, aside from the badging, the way you can tell it's the 43 is by its round exhaust tips instead of the square ones the other SLs get, along with unique front and rear bumpers. And also should be lighter and therefore handle better than the V8 versions as well. But we don't have too many other details as far as curb weight differences or anything like that just yet. But anyway, very cool to see that nonetheless. And for some other Mercedes news here, this isn't officially announced yet, but my anonymous dealer contact actually confirmed to me that Mercedes is sending the S580e plug-in hybrid version of the S-Class to the US for the 2023 model year. So it came out in Europe last year using the 3-liter turbo inline-6 motor paired up with an electric motor setup to do a total of 510 horsepower along with 62 miles of range on the WLTP test cycle. So pretty good amount of range. That's really towards the top of the pack as far as plug-in hybrids go. And we'll see EPA range will probably be lower, but still could even be better than like a RAV4 Prime, which does 42 miles. So pretty cool. And so you see the little infographic that was sent to dealers as well. And so as you see, we'll get all the same stuff here, including the interesting option to get DC fast charging capability, even though the battery is still pretty small. But I guess if you really want to keep it topped off in city centers, if they're envisioning a world, where you're not allowed to have your gas engine burning in the middle of a city, down the road, you can have this charge up very quickly, whenever you do run out of those, 40, 50, 60 miles of range, whatever. But yeah, so interesting. I think this is one of the first vehicles to offer that outside of maybe one or two others. And then my source also revealed that Mercedes will also be sending a 4MATIC all-wheel drive version of the EQS 450 to the States for the 2023 model year. So currently the EQS, the fully electric model, that one, there's currently a 450, which is the rear-wheel drive version, and then there's a 580. You previously had to jump up to that faster 580 version in order to get the all-wheel drive. So now it sounds like they're going to be rolling out a 4MATIC, all-wheel drive version of the 450. I don't have any info yet as far as what power output that would have. I'm assuming it would be more than the rear-wheel drive version, but probably definitely, obviously less than the 580. So We'll see about that. But nice that they're going to be offering all-wheel drive without having to go up to some crazy high-performance version. And so yeah, very interesting to hear that. And thanks to my dealer contact there for that info. Hyundai this week has teased a refresh for the 2023 Palisade, and it gives it a very Cadillac-looking front end, in my opinion, with a headlight setup that's almost a direct copy of the CT5. And so we don't really have too many details on it just yet. They say it's going to be revealed at the New York Auto Show next week on April 13th. And Kia will also be showing off their refresh version of the Telluride. The same thing here. That's going to be showing up for the 2023 model year as well. Also shown at the New York Auto Show on the same exact day. So Hyundai and Kia get all the stuff nice and fair and even. No one gets an advantage here, it seems. And although Kia does give us a little more information than Hyundai did. So in addition to teasing the styling changes for the outside, they also showed off a little bit of the inside there. We can see it's going to be one continuous piece of glass or plastic or something there for the screen setup, which will be interesting, compared to the current Telluride setup. They also revealed it's going to be getting a new X Pro trim too, so that'll be a slightly lifted, slightly more rugged version, like we saw with the Sportage X Pro. It'll be probably something very similar to that, and so. Anyway, so we'll have all the details on that next week as well. Lexus has also teased the RZ450e before its reveal on April 20th. It's kind of surprising they're not revealing it at the New York Auto Show and instead doing it a week later here. But what we see is a quick look at the front end and a look at the cockpit here, which will feature a yoke instead of a steering wheel, at least as an option. I hope it's only an option because they should definitely have learned from Tesla and that whole yoke debacle. And, Toyota also is putting on offer with the BZ4X. And I believe that is now a Japan-only option because I don't think it's offered in the States anymore. Or, the plans to offer it in the States, I think, were scrapped. And so, we'll see, if they're really going to commit to this thing here for the States or not. But regardless, this is basically going to be the Lexus version of the BZ4X. Previous teasers have suggested it'll be getting two of the more powerful motors. So front-wheel drive BZ4Xs do the 200 horsepower on the front axle there. It will probably get two of those motors instead for about 400 horsepower instead of the current 215 horsepower setup that you see on the BZ4X and the Subaru Solterra. So that could be like a top higher end version of the Lexus. It could also get the same exact powertrains as the Toyota. Potentially, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we'll get hopefully powertrain details in about 2 weeks at that reveal. But interesting to get that teaser. DeLorean has also shown us another teaser image here of their new car, and unfortunately it's kind of a disappointment. So previously they teased going doors and kind of a boxy front end, and I was like, oh boy, here we go, we're gonna have a new DeLorean, it's gonna be awesome. And then we got a picture of the back end here, and doesn't look very retro. I mean, it has the louvers there on the rear window at least, but aside from that, it doesn't really look like a DeLorean very much, to me, honestly. Again, it's just a teaser image. We'll reserve final judgment for the full reveal, which will be happening this summer at Pebble Beach. But just saw that and was like, wow, they had one job, make it look like the old car, and instead it honestly seems like the Hyundai Ioniq 5 is going to look more like a new DeLorean than the new DeLorean will look like a new DeLorean. So kind of interesting. Not sure why they did that. Kind of a head scratcher in my opinion. But anyway, we'll see the full reveal this summer of that. And it sounds like the Ferrari F8 Tributo may be reaching the end of its production here soon. So Ferrari has supposedly stopped taking orders for both the Coupe and the Spider versions and explained to Australian website Drive that ordering has been closed due to the volume of orders received, which sounds kind of vague. It could go either way as far as the amount of, obviously, I'm sure they're selling fine, but, it's could go two different ways, as far as whether it just didn't sell enough or it's sold so much that they've already sold out of them. It also could go two different ways as far as what the product plans are for the F8, because, they could be early, cutting off the orders early because maybe there's a new hardcore version to succeed the 48 Pista and have, something, although the F8 was essentially a more refined 48 Pista. But, I think, at least I was expecting there to be a new version of the F8, the final hurrah hardcore version before it went away. But so maybe that is the reason why ordering has phased out here for the F8. Or it could be that the 296 GTB, even though Ferrari is like, well, it's not the replacement for anything, is probably the replacement for it. And that instead of going to a hardcore version, maybe because of emissions or for whatever reason, they're just not doing a hardcore version of the F8, and instead we'll just, go straight into focusing fully on the 296. We'll see, how it all pans out. But Ferrari also says they have strong orders for everything in the Ferrari lineup well into 2023. So, maybe they're just focused on building everything else that's selling super hot. They don't care about the F8 anymore as much, and so they're just going to let it go. We'll see which way that goes. I mean, the F8 was kind of a cash cow anyway because it's still based on the old 458 platform, just been warmed over here over, all these other little micro generations, I guess, of the same kind of car. So maybe they just figured it's run its course, and instead of doing another hardcore version, they just let it fade away. 296 kind of comes in to, steal the thunder now, and that's it. We'll see, if there's any developments there, but I wouldn't hold your breath for a hardcore version of the F8, it seems. So a little bit of a surprise there, but kind of makes sense since the 296 is already faster, lighter, better handling. Obviously it gets rid of the V8. That will be the sad thing, is now there will be no mid-engined V8 Ferrari without hybrid assistance. You can still get the V8 in the SF90 Stradale, but that has the hybrid. So if the F8 truly is the last here, then we have officially closed ordering on mid-engined V8 non-hybrid Ferraris, which is kind of crazy. So we'll see, again, how that continues to play out here. Anyway, the last little thing I do want to mention is I just want to thank all of those of you who are still members of the channel. So we didn't have any new members sign up this week, but I wanted to thank the very first member that signed up almost a month ago whenever I rolled out these memberships here. So huge thanks to Carlos, who was the very first member to sign up, and hopefully you guys are all still enjoying all the perks, and I will continue to be posting up some more inside scoop of what's going on. We had some new developments here as far as Beth's car this week, and I'm still not going to be giving that away even to the members, but I will be giving a little bit more information as far as what's going on there in that member section. So stay tuned for that, members. Otherwise, for those of you who would like to join and become a member, there's a link in the description. You can also, if you're on a computer, just click the join button here on the video page or on the channel page if you'd like to sign up and join us. But anyway, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know all your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. I hope you guys continue to stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.